picked good targets on the edge of the storm, and you can see Ghost following up right away. Virtue trying to make a move, but it wasn't enough, and Boffin is going to be able to just follow it up, and you can see them being relentless. And then Ghost, this is great. They tarp out the whole level. They know he's there, and Ghost is like, we're not going to lose. I'm 100/100. I'm going to go down. Every point matters. That one got them the 13th elim, and now we got Anthony and Riverson. So Riverson used to be the best of the West, now playing over in the East, trying to be a beast here, doing everything he can to get another qualification spot. He wants it so badly, picking up Twyfo there and trying to push through. You can see pulls up with a great flank and control around the zone to get TJ, stay in it, and then recognize the shot onto Bluff at the end. Just brilliantly done. We've seen Riverson before, and now trying to do it with the new duo of Anthony in the final week. We're used to seeing him with Persecute, but let's see if it's enough to get him up here on the standings.
Here we go. Right now at the top, you've got Zayt and Saf leading with 48 points, 4 games played. But right behind them, you've got the liquid duo of 72 and Vivid. Tetra and Eclipse right behind them. And look at this, man. From top to bottom, an 8-point spread. That's, I mean, 8 points in striking distance is, you know, making it what, let's say top 5 and a few victory royales. And suddenly you're finding yourself up all the way up here. I mean, this is still really, really close.
And the one thing you have to realize, Eclipse and Tetra have already qualified. Zayt and Saf have already qualified. So right now it would be 72 hours and Vivid, Slacks and Keys, and then Assault and Innocent. But with all of these players here, we've talked about a reasonable pop-off game being about 15 points. It's a 5-win victory royale or a top 5 with 8 elims. And in duos in particular, because everyone kind of squishes together at the end, those numbers can be inflated. We've seen 20-plus point games. Yeah. We saw Stompy Tashinkin drop back-to-back 20-point games to take the top. It is still anybody's tournament for the last 3 spots. And again, this is it. After this, you're done. If you played on NA East, you can hang it up. If you're not going to New York, you get to watch with everyone else.
That's right. And again, you know, if you're seeing these players and you don't recognize them, or maybe you do, just take a moment, send them some love. They're playing their hearts out right now, trying to punch their tickets. But of course, Fortnite fam, we're ready to hop back into more games. Thank you so much, Son, for hanging out. We're going for a dip, so let's send it back over to Bala and Shio-Wager.
Thank you, Zeke. Those eyebrows always on fleek, and so is NA East as we get into Dubs and Mega, the big titans of the entire server on solos and duos. A nice, varied actually rotation coming in. A ball sticking beside a flintlock pistol like a mother deer and her fawn as these guys move around the field at the moment. A lot of mats available as well, and they keep saving these mats as well when they use this type of rotation.
I love the use of the flintlock as a rotational item. It's something that you can always basically count on finding at least one, or maybe a glider redeploy, shadows, or something. And that flintlock, hey, sometimes you have it and you're like, oh, I don't have any rotation, but it saves the day here as Dubs and Mega make their way towards the zone and almost approaching that top 25. That's not a placement threshold here in duos. It's actually still half of the server alive right now.
It's just really impressive that these guys used these many limited mats, saved the ball, and got in without taking any damage, as it's so hard to do when one player has the ball and the other player doesn't. It takes so much experience. Speaking of experience, knowing the proper sight lines and the proper builds to shoot as well is huge, as Dubs is going to be calling the shots on who to shoot at the moment. Dubs looking at boxes beside him as well that are just completing. A lot of chaos going on around him as well. A blue tack shotgun available, so he gets multiple shots in close range. It actually does out DPS the combat if you are in that box-to-box moment, and that's what he's going to be looking for, doing his patented wall replacing. It is the box fight meta.
Oh.
And we'll see if Mega can play that meta as well, as one duo holds while the other one pushes. Flintlocks coming in that tack. Double tapped. Ghoul goes down, now representing his name as a ghost in the server. We'll see what else these duels can do as we look at a huge aerial shot of everyone on the same layer on this mountain in the map.
Starting to flatten out, but we know the moving zones are coming, and we know those change things very fast. And as I was looking at those standings, I was looking and seeing what the average points are for those top places, the people who are going to be qualifying. Zayt and Saf up at the top, they were averaging just slightly over 10 points a game at 46, and they had only played 4 games. Same thing with 72 and Vivid. And, you know, I have a funny story about Dubs and Mega, actually. Dubs was giving me advice on how to play in the finals. He was like, Bala, you got this. You can qualify. All you need to do is get 10 points a game. I'm like, okay, buddy. You're only one of the few people who can do that consistently.
One of the only in the world. We talk about the placements and where individuals are in these leaderboards. The first 5 games, the last 5 games, and these 5 shots coming out of Vix are so different and important as he gets that knock. When players are playing your first 5, the mentality is very different. You have some momentum, but as you move around in those leaderboards, those last 5 games, people start getting more serious. People start throwing games. Speaking about throwing things, all these bodies getting thrown in the air as everyone is on rotation at the moment as the zone just starts moving. Looks like no one's really moving that late. Rote is left behind with Zeshi as well.
And I'm already seeing the top 3 players, or duos, up on the leaderboard, Vivid and 72, and we saw Keys and Slacks as well down below them. Looks like Vivid is in a clutch situation right now as his teammate is already down, trying to find the player on the zip line. He heard it coming. Started to put his attention immediately on it as he tunnels forward. Again, we talk about it every single time. It's always get ahead of the zone, look back, look for those gatekeeping shots as he sees, he opens it up, gets the stairs in, the edit comes through. Divine had no chance and no speed to realize that that was going to happen from Vivid, taking an opportunity to find that elimination.
Divine on the low ground, now being dropped down to the underworld as Vivid starts to make his way up. 72 has been eliminated, so it's all him. Only 10 mats though, so it's just him and a Dream at the moment. Now has to barrage through enemy builds with his pickaxe. Has an edit though. The last mat that was his in that box. The dynamic zipline play coming in as he does gain a little bit of height, but needs to go even higher. Balls flying all around him in the map as well. H-tag going down. Can he get the mats from that elimination? Yes, he can. 20 metal only though, as he still has to rely on his trusty pickaxe, denying a player height on that layer as well. He does have 1 launch pad and 1 mat left. Tickers all the way up top with Hornet, who has qualified in solos as well. We'll see if he can replicate that and get double qualled with his dual partner as well. Kuturba dropping down a layer. We'll see if Vivid can find a way up.
Vivid doing crazy things right now. Fortunately, the zone did go back in his favor, so he doesn't have to spend too many materials as it's going downhill, and he uses the 1 piece of metal to block that shot, and now he's looking for more. He's looking to refresh. He needs to find something, possibly both of these eliminations in the storm. Yes, this is going to be the mats that he needs to refresh. Not even much, though. Every single time he finds an elimination, there's not much at all. The edit coming through. Is he going to finish it off? Yes, but does he get the mats? Not really. Not really just yet, but taking the time, going back, still only 10 builds, really 15 builds here. Vivid, can you really do this right here with no mats from all the way back when? Clutching up, now into the top 5. He is doing this.
The big thing about getting these low ground eliminations is that everyone else is also in shambles. The big wall barrage coming in with the flint knock, just nice knowledge about where your materials are and where the angles are to get in. Has 2 heavy snipers available as well, so he takes multiple chances at moving through. Has to move up layers though. Silent edits coming in. Big Enas as well as Frat gets flown off that low ground as well. Vivid's just moving in ways I've never seen. Can he get that launch pad off?
No.
It might not be enough time. Vivid now going down to the zone is going to hold back as much as possible to see if the enemies were making a mistake. But that's the game. Hornet and Tickers playing the positional game there and winning it off with all this multi-high and low ground coming out. Look at these tarps, Bala.
Yeah, this fossil is ridiculous as it goes all the way back. I mean, really, we could actually track the story of Vivid, right? He had no materials through all of this. He barely contributed to that thing, but he survived until top 2. So what a performance there from Vivid, and that's why they're up there. That's why they're in 2nd place right now.
It's always that 1 or 2 pop-off game, and it's always also about staying consistent. If Vivid and Tom keep playing that way, easily they can qualify this week 100%. We see Stinks now, the big focus of week 10. A lot of people carrying them more than normal I've seen right now in all these regions. Nice dodges from Grasha there, though. We'll see if he can move forward. Has a lot of mats available for the moment. 3 elims amongst him and his dual partner Daxter, both representing E11 Gaming. They do have that patented flintlock and redeploy combo. I think is one of the most dynamic combos in the game, as you don't have to pull out anything if you fall off from height. It's very easy to kind of manipulate where you want to be exactly with those 2 items. Granted though, they do take 2 slots.
But I mean, 2 slots, and we've seen the use of it. Actually, I don't know if we've seen it on broadcast yet, but there's starting to be a lot of innovative uses with the flint knock and the glider redeploy. You actually go faster, even horizontally, when you use that flint knock and the glider redeploy, because you shoot that flint knock, it pushes you with the momentum, and then you're using that glider redeploy to just carry you forward.
The biggest thing about it, too, is that you can choose when to stop and take your shots as well. We see a lot of stuff happening on low right now as well. We have Pika on the server as well.
What is this? Is West just migrating to East? What is going on? Why are you here, Pika,
Maybe
on East?
the timings of West, they thought, hey, we should get into games now, and they fell off on the East. We'll see if they can get the stuff done. There are 2 more qual spots on East compared to West, though, so maybe that's one big thing if these guys think that they can pop off.
I mean, we've seen in the past Psalm, you know, he is a West Coast player, but the first week he actually moved over to East, making sure that he gives himself the most opportunities, the most spots, and he qualified first try. He's actually even East still with his partner Symmetrical this week, so Pika taking a little bit of a note from Psalm.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, though, this is not the first chance. This is the last chance. It's week 10, so everyone's pulling out all the tricks from the bag. No secrets here. We'll see if we get anything equivalent of an Olaf boost. We'll see if there's any secret stats happening as that door edit comes through. People now have adapted to that, though. They know that someone's coming through that door. Assault taking all his shield off when he gets onto this rotation. Only 2 minis available. We'll see if Innocence has any heals as well to supplement this duo as he gets booped a little bit of interruption there on his minis. He does have shadows available. Once again, 1 player on shadows, 1 player on the balls, and in perfect position as well as he can beam Hydra from the zone line. A nice dynamic switch onto the floor from the wall once you realize that someone was already pressuring that wall. This is just those micro decisions these players make at the last second of these shots to get that elimination when they move across the map as well. They're going to be on rotation now. We'll see when they box up and go back.
Assault getting beamed from the back, not realizing there was a player who's going to immediately realize that he's there. But I got to talk about it. We said pulling out all the stops. Assault and Innocence right here, they're sticking to the tried and true, the 1 baller strat. We've seen them do this, even dual baller all the way through from the beginning, but they just got ripped in. That baller is gone now, and they have to dive. No, Innocence is still down there, actually. I misspoke. There's so many players in the sky right now, but still. So I think he still has that baller. I think he could still last a lot, but look at his HP right now, not working out just yet. Where did Assault go? Did he land nearby?
He landed on the mid-ground there, Bala, and he got right to work as Branchies, who is also on East right now, playing it up, gets a big knock down from Assault. He, as soon as he landed, even though he was split, went straight to work, started bullying Davon, who also landed with Fernando on that mid-ground, and he has this insurance, once again getting tagged up. People just predicting everything these players are doing when it comes to smokes. There's no safety available. Everyone's on their best behavior. They know all the stops they can pull to get this pressure down. Assault's now getting dynamic with it. Might not move the same way to get that shadow off. It might affect him on the amount of distance he can move, but he still has Matt's 500 wood left, actually, which might prove fatal near the end of the game as that wood can get shredded through, just like cheese in a grater. We'll see if he can keep it yummy, though. Assault on 41 HP, needs some more food, needs some more eliminations to get that siphon off and get him back up to 100. Sees that Stormline sight line as WordBro gets .exe'd out of the game. He's off now. 28 builds left for Assault. He doesn't get to pick up those mats. Owen and Threats owning probably the best mid-ground tarp they can have right now, but they're getting stinked off of it as there's so many people fighting for these high mid-ground layer tarps as well.
Staying on board with Assault, just great shots as he immediately realized that player was going to make an edit on him, getting the double combat shotgun shot through. And I think he wants to go for the mats, but maybe a little bit risky. Does find a med kit. Is he going to find the time to pop it? Is this the final zone? I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he really goes for the full heal off right here. Now, down on low ground, there's still so many people left alive, Shiloh. I mean, there are 11 players total, 7 duos still remaining in this game, and it's final zone. It is time. 1 minute left in the game.
People are going to be playing super, super smart. The placements have not even gone out yet. All the points there. Still duels to get knocked down. 8 W keys get sent back to the jungle. No opportunity there for him to get any placements, unfortunately. 1 duo still needs to go down. Assault looking very healthy on HP and shield right now. Has a little bit more time to move through the storm. That storm taking 10 damage a second. Gives him about 8 to 9 seconds to move throughout without an elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Intangible goes down as Assault is now just freaking on everyone. Another shot coming in. Threats is getting eliminated. Can he keep it going? Assault has that low ground layer. It's very dangerous for the surprise factor. Davon getting that shot off, but it's not over yet. Creo and Nolan in a 1v1. Both their duos have gone down. Creo with the Superman launchpad on the height. Still has mats to answer with it as well. Starts taking the ticks of health first, but resets those ticks as Nolan has fallen under less HP. Creo with the high IQ launchpad and safety switch to stay in the storm and clinch out that game. Huge plays there. 3 eliminations. The victory royale. Creo, you can't do it better, Bella. You can't.
Creo just pulled off one of the most insane clutch launch pads I have ever seen, knowing exactly that Dusty Divot has these, kind of elevation changes. It goes up and then it goes down drastically. He knows there's builds up there. I can get up there and I can out-heal or outlast you as you have to make your way through all of that old fossil. Perfect play there from Creo, and that's why he's qualified in solos, right? So he's trying to do it now, trying to get double qualified and bring his teammate KiwiFace along with him.
We talk about qualified duos and solos. Sap and Zayt now, who also qualified for duos, are going to be looking at getting some more money and placement as well as they keep playing for these top spots for respect and practice as well. Slurp sticking on Sap. He does have a few more. They pick up an elimination. A lot of loot to work with now. Looks like they have excess mats as well. They're in zone. They could big up their base if they wanted to, make it a little bit bigger for more sightlines, or they could stay cool, calm, collected. One cool thing I see from low ground usually is if you stay a little bit more low key and then look for surprise shots where people don't expect it, that's where you can get those big picks. On height, it's always dope to, edit your walls, see if there's any advantage points, but with low ground, you usually have 1 or 2 angles, and you can get those pop-off moments there.
So Saf and Zayt, I've seen a little bit of on Zayt's Twitter about his strategies going into New York, talking about how he's trying to control his drop spot being Loot Lake. That's going to be one of the most interesting storylines in New York, being the fact that they claim Loot Lake to themselves, but we know how many duos are already dropping there. We know how many duos are already qualified in New York. So Zayt talking about, I'm trying to stop anybody else from being in there because he already has Sean and Aiden. He already has Mitra and Mongo. They're trying to claim Tilted, but they could come back to their old home the way they qualified.
The mind games from duos saying on Twitter, we might be taking this spot or that spot. The biggest theme for Worlds is going to be clashing of all these storylines. Everyone plays in their region. They know the rules, but that always gets flipped as Juxta gets flipped as well in the Storm. He goes down. Easy Elam points picked up from Sap and Zayt.
Yeah, I do want to shout out real quick somebody who's been doing a lot of research on those clashes going into New York in solos. He put together all the drops. That's Arcane on Twitter. Absolutely amazing work. He just does that week in, week out. And now we really can look at a map and say, okay, we're going to see this, we're going to see that. And I can't wait for it. But you know what else I can't wait for? It's Fuzzy and Hogman. This is one of the teams that has had those, heartbreaking weeks, those heartbreaking moments, but also very positive, triumphant, because every week they're up there as Hogman picks up webs. Every single week, they're getting so close. And we saw them up on the leaderboard before, right around probably possibly this game is fresh for us, not even realizing any of the points here. Hogman, you are crazy. He just went all the way up on high ground with the baller, and Fuzzy's doing the same too, but staggered because now, no, just barely. I thought he was going to take full high ground while Hogman fights from below. But what a crazy play there. They're all of a sudden in a really good position.
They talk about the use of ballers in competitive, but no one does it better, I think, than Hogman and Fuzzy. Hogman was the king of ballers coming in from solo. He's kind of given that knowledge to Fuzzy as well. The amount of time they can keep these ballers alive near the end of the circle. A Rift coming out now, seeing if they can once again reposition. Looks like their game plan is always zone 6 and 7. Fight for that height. Use your mats then. So if the balls don't work, we'll see if the Rift to go can work. And it does almost, as Hogman gets that slow deploy, but pops off on Sean Claude from the back. We'll see if he can build up. Another shot coming in. The Sidewinder combat shotgun. We'll see if he can wall replace here. His enemy goes down lower towards the ground. Sean gets that Elim, or Hogman gets the Elim confirmed on Sean. Multi-layered high ground available as well for this duo.
Yeah, and I'm curious, okay, they are going to use the launch pad to get right back down. Actually, Fuzzy's going to go ahead and drop all the way down. He does have that glider redeploy, but one thing I'm noticing in their inventory, they have the chug splashes. We saw the play earlier from Famhood. So that is a possibility here in this game, but there's still so much to play, Shio.
The Chug Splash is one thing you can always bait and switch with. We saw that high ground PG fight about to happen, but instantaneously that heal off came in. We'll see what these duels can do with the utility they have. Brispy going for a nice utility play as his trap gives him some fruition, but he can't capitalize on getting those mats, ammo, or weapon upgrades because these guys have to move for the storm. Sometimes you can get those high priority elims down, but you won't be able to get everything out of them except for just the points, and it might make it so that you fall behind on tempo for the rest of the game, moving on positions.
Speaking of tempo, I love how Sherry here is not, full topping all the way through, but what he is doing is placing a floor and a cone on the bottom layer and making sure that if anybody's going to go below, I can make that edit. I can open up on you.
A lot of personalized styles from a lot of people. Powbro going down. We'll see Cherry actually moving behind his builds as his duo stays up. This is huge. 6 duos left alive now. 1 more placement point left. We'll see who's allowed to play and who is not going to get any placement points from this point onwards. Hogman on the high ground with Fuzzy, who's trying to wall replace. Once again, this genius type of split on height where one person, one target, for the other one goes and does the dirty work. Fuzzy in a dirty situation, but Hogman cleans it up. Very nice stuff there as they get that elim down. Big points available as well for these duels if they can keep getting these elims over and over again.
And I love how they collapsed directly on that player. As soon as they got both the cone and the floor, that player started full sending on them. They both came down and made sure that they would handle this, but making sure that they're also getting that victory royale. They're slowing down, splitting the materials, knowing exactly where that LXRI duo is going to be, but Fuzzy goes down. It's now all up to Hogman, maybe opening a little bit preemptively there, but it's still top 3 situation. They've earned all the placement points. Hogman's gonna get revenge onto Cherry. There's still one more down below, but he has no mats. Just fine. The Siphon mats right there, that's gonna allow him to stay up just for a little bit longer. Using the Chug Splash, not yet using that slurp, but he sees an opportunity, does get a couple shots. Now it's a 1v1 down on low ground. Hogman can take his time or go full send, get the elimination. Yes, onto Brispy, and then finally onto Lotus. Hogman and Fuzzy take the victory royale with 20 points.
Options, options, options. Hogman just using the proper shots, using the proper heals. Zeke, what do you think about all this, man? How is this stuff getting so insane and more ramped up over and over again?
We knew for a while now that Hogmans and Fuzzy had it, and right then they just put all the pieces together. A massive 20-point game. Let's go.
Fuzzy Wuzzy doesn't care. Fuzzy Wuzzy will take all your points away and qualify for the World Cup. That should have rhymed. I apologize.
Sundown has long hair. There's the rhyme.
You go.
All right, let's talk about some dope clips that you pulled for us.
Yes, let's take a look at some of the individual efforts that are coming out. I know it's Duos Week, but